name is Carrie Deacon, and this is my informative speech. Today, my audience members include 5 people. And my videographer. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a very important topic. The topic is equality for women. Women are penalized from birth simply by the chromosomes that they are born with. The cards are stacked against us, and the statistics are staggering. It may surprise you to learn that nearly 1 in every 8 women over the age of 65 live in poverty. Due to pay disparity in our country, women are penalized while we are wage earners and penalized again in retirement. For example, 401k contributions are limited to a percentage of your earnings. Therefore, as I stated earlier, we're penalized twice, once as wage earners and again as retirees. To that note, Social Security benefits are also based on earnings. Again, we're penalized twice. Women are penalized again as primary caregivers with respect to wages and seniority at work, mainly because we often have to interrupt our careers to take care of our children or parents. Furthermore, just 1 year out of college, a woman working full-time earns less than half of her male counterparts in the same field. Sadly, the gap only widens as time goes by. I believe in equal rights for women, both in the workplace and society as a whole. The great pioneer of women's rights, Mary Wollstonecraft, said it very well in her iconic book, A Vindication of the Rights of Woman. I do not wish women to have power over men, but over themselves. Here's the core of what I'm going to speak about today. Without grassroots efforts, organizations, and advocacy groups that empower women, we will never level the playing field between men and women. My hope is that my daughters, or more realistically my granddaughters, never have to encounter the glass ceiling and wage disparities that I have faced as a woman. So today I'm going to talk about a very important grassroots organization, the AAUW, the American Association of University Women, of which I am a proud member. The primary focus of the organization is to advance equality for women and girls through advocacy, education, philanthropy, and research. This organization supports women and is steeped with a long history of political, social, and educational reformers. I'll briefly review their history. I'll speak to some of their biggest issues along with their goals and mission, and close with why their efforts are timelier than ever. According to the AAUW website, the group was formed in 1881. Marion Talbot and Ellen Richards held the first meeting in Boston with 15 other women from various colleges. Their goal was to meet the needs of college-educated women and discuss opportunities to broaden their horizons. The merger of the two rights groups was in 1903, and it formed the AAUW. The two associations that joined forces were the Southern Association of College Women, which was founded in 1903, and merged with the Association of Collegiate Alumni to form today's AAUW. Currently, there are over 1,000 local branches and over 800 at over 800 universities and colleges. There are over 170,000 members in the United States, and as I stated earlier, I'm the proud member of this organization. The group specializes in efforts in several different areas. Some of their focus is on research, campus support efforts, STEM careers for women, getting women into the sciences, public policy, education, and of course funding to support our efforts. Now I'll move on to one of their biggest campaign movements. The AAUW first presented legislation on pay equity in 1907. They continue to fight the battle of pay disparity in our country. And the staggering fact is this: as of 2015, women earn less than 79 cents of every dollar earned by their male counterparts. That's with the same education, the same career. 79 cents on the dollar. Through pay equity workshops, campus programs for female student leaders, and conferences, the AAUW focuses on teaching women how to negotiate their salaries. The AAUW's efforts empower young women to talk the talk and walk the walk to negotiate their pay. This chart shows median annual earnings by race and ethnicity and gender. And this chart shows women's median annual earnings as a percentage of men's from 1974 to 2014. We've made a tiny stride. We were at 59% of their earnings in 76, and as of 2014, we're at 79%. We still have a long way to go. The pay and gender gap is worse for mothers and for women of color. Using a single benchmark provides a more informative picture. Data from the AAUW website states that compared with the salary information for white male workers, Asian American women's salaries show the smaller gender gap at just 90%. The gap was largest for Hispanic and Latino women. They were paid only 54 cents on the dollar as opposed to their white male counterparts. The smaller gender pay gap among African Americans, Hispanics, and American Indians and Native Hawaiians is due solely to the fact that those men of color were paid substantially less than non-Hispanic white men in 2014. Many of you may think that education closes the gap. It helps close the gap. The truth is, it doesn't. According to an article that Eric Sherman wrote and was published on Forbes.com, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD, released its annual report in its members' country. When you look at the data combined with the information from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a troubling picture develops. He said women increasingly are likely to have higher education, yet they continue to trail virtually everywhere in pay when compared to men with equivalent education and occupations. Natalie. Sherman went on to report that in 2014, 41% of men ages 25 to 34 years old had attained tertiary post-secondary education compared to 51% of women. This education gap favoring women isn't true in just the U.S. The OECD found patterns in 40 out of 42 member countries with available data. So you'd think that women on a whole might be making significant progress in pay equity because their numbers outweighed more toward education levels that correlate to higher pay. It just isn't the case. We deserve equality. Thanks to the efforts of early grassroots efforts like the AAUW and older organizations, we have the 19th Amendment in our Bill of Rights, which gave all citizens the right to vote. That amendment was ratified in 1920 to include women. However, much to my dismay, nearly 100 years later, we're still fighting the fight. In closing, I'll say this. The great world peace and equity leader Gandhi once was quoted as saying, "Of all the evils for which man has made himself responsible, none is so degrading, so shocking, or so brutal as his abuse of the better half of humanity, the female sex." Grassroots organizations and advocacy groups are leading fight for equality for women. And as a card-carrying member, I urge all young women to join our efforts. Your future, or more importantly, your daughter's future, depends on it. Thank you very much.